We are all at some point of time go through some anxiety issues. We are lucky to have Bhakti Mehta ji, a renowned psychologist of over 25 years of experience, associated with us. Before this session, I would like to invite upon Pooja Mehta ji to take up the morning prayer.
Thank you, ma'am. थैंक यू मैम। सभी को मेरा नमस्कार। आज गुरुवार दिनांक 17 फरवरी 2022 फाल्गुन माह कृष्ण पक्ष की प्रतिपदा तिथि है। हमारे गुरु डॉक्टर के अग्रवाल जी को सादर नमन करते हुए आइए आज हम जगत के पालनहार भगवान विष्णु की स्तुति करते हैं। शुक्लां वरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभसुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभांगं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिभिर्ध्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णु भवभयहरणं सर्वलोकैकनाथं वन्दे विष्णु भवभयहरणं सर्वलोकैकनाथं। भगवान विष्णु सभी के दुखों का नाश करे, सभी सुखी रहे, स्वस्थ रहे, प्रसन्न रहे, मैं ऐसी प्रार्थना करती हूँ और इसी के साथ अपनी वाणी को विराम देती हूँ। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Pooja ji. Thank you very much for the morning prayer. Now I would like to invite Bhakti Mehta ji to enlighten us with this topic on anxiety. If you have any queries or question related to the topic, kindly write us on the chat box. We would try to answer all of them. But if some of those remain unanswered, we would take these questions up in some other session. All over to you, Bhakti Mehta ji.
Namaste, good morning everyone. Vamsi ji, can I share slides now?
Yes, ma'am. Your co-host.
Can you see? All good?
We can see, but maximize the slide. Slideshow. Correct.
On my screen, it is slideshow.
Yes.
Okay, it's okay.
On your screen, it's not slideshow?
No, not. Maximize kari. It's okay, Bhakti ji. You can continue.
Okay, so today we are going to talk about anxiety. Now, especially COVID times, since the last 2 years, ये जो word है हमने बहुत ज़्यादा सुना है. इसको anxiety हो गया, उसको anxiety हो गया, मुझे anxiety हो रहा है. So let's talk about what it means. Today we are going to take up what it means to have anxiety. Now, what is anxiety? Anxiety is a body's natural response to stress. Okay, जब भी हमको stress होता है और सभी को life में stress होता है. At some time in their life, they will be stressed. Some people will be stressed every day. Some people will be stressed at particular instances in their lives. So it's a body's natural response, okay, to stress. It is a feeling of fear or apprehension about what's to come. The first day of school, going to a job interview, talking in public, uh, uh, very often exams, uh, some crisis situation in the house, it makes you nervous and fearful. So that is anxiety. What is important to take from here is that it is a natural response to stress. और basically stress किसको नहीं होता है? And nowadays छोटे बच्चों को भी stress होता है. Like you'll see little infants also stressed. So I mean, it's number one, to understand that it's not something to feel upset or fear about, that you're feeling anxious or you're stressed. Everyone experiences, and it's okay. It would be strange not to be. I mean, you have to be like a sadhu or in some kind of a zen state not to be stressed and not to be upset or not to be anxious. Okay, so मुझे anxiety हो गई है. Lots of people are really, I mean, there's a spelling error over here, I'm sorry. Feel very upset if when somebody says, oh, acha, aapko anxiety ho gayi hai. I mean, it's just natural. Many people are anxious at different times of the day, almost every day. People are anxious in varying degrees. Now, this anxiety is not the same for everyone. Some people are really, really anxious. Some people are so anxious that they cannot function. Some people with their anxiety, with their anxiousness can function very well. Some people get used to this anxiousness.
Second slide ko chahiye.
Sorry?
Second slide ko chahiye. It is first slide hai abhi.
Mamsuji, I am not understanding. ये मेरा तो slideshow हो रहा है. You are not getting it as slideshow?
Shivani ji?
No, we are not getting Bhakti ma'am. It's the first slide we are seeing anxiety, that's it.
Okay.
Can you close it once and retry?
I'm sorry, I apologize. Just give me 1 minute, please. Now, can you see it as a slideshow?
Bhakti ma'am, we can only
No,
see
ma'am.
the first anxiety. The second, what is anxiety, we are not able to see that.
Select the second slide. Slideshow जरूरत नहीं है. आप only share that thing and आप slideshow mode में मत जाइए. Generally वो PPT को share करिए.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
You can see what is anxiety.
Yes. Now it has come. This is the second slide. What is anxiety?
Yes.
Yeah. All good.
Okay. So, people are anxious in varying degrees. Some people are okay. Some people are completely incapacitated with their anxiety. So, anxiety is different for everyone. So, अगर मैं anxious हूँ और आप भी anxious हो, हमारे anxiousness में, हमारा जो treatment में, हमारा symptoms में बहुत फर्क होगा. Now, let's see the difference. Let's see the difference between what is fear and what is anxiety. Okay. Now, fear is something that you can see. The threat you can see. It's observable. It is real. Okay. Whereas anxiety is an anticipation of the threat. For example, अगर मैं आज मेरी exam है और मैंने पढ़ा नहीं है और मैं बहुत ज्यादा डर गई हूं, then that is fear. अगर 1 महीने के बाद मेरी एग्जाम है और मैं पढ़ रही हूँ मगर मैं इतनी डर गई हूँ और आई एम सो एंशियस at the thought of the exam, then that is anxiety. Okay, it is something that is not here in the present. It's not an actual threat. There is something you can do about it. Okay, ये जो fear में क्या होता है कि suppose I haven't studied, I know I haven't studied. In anxiety, I am just assuming that my exam is going to be bad. Now these are the two big differences. Anxiety is a fear of something completely, okay, subjective, and it's not real. Okay, fear means that the person is actually observing and knows exactly what the fear is. For example, आज मुझे कोविड हो गया है. Okay, so then I am scared of the disease, and that is fear, and that's real and that's actual. But मेरे बिल्डिंग में किसी को कोविड हो गया है और मुझे हो सकता है, मुझे फिर ये हो जाएगा, फिर मुझे हॉस्पिटल में जाना पड़ेगा, फिर मेरी तबीयत बहुत खराब हो जाएगी. All these thought process, okay, and the fear and the stress that emits from there is anxiety. Okay, so it's observable, impending threat, anticipation of a potential threat, here and now, in potential future. Fear is narrowing of attention, broadening of attention. This is very important. Narrowing of attention का मतलब है कि when the, जैसे अगर if you're scared of dogs, तो अगर dog देखते हो आप, हाँ, तो you are going to be scared. That is the narrowing of your attention. Means your whole focus is on that one object that makes you fearful. Anxiety में just the thought कि आज अगर मैं रास्ते में जाऊंगी तो मुझे कुत्ता दिख जाएगा और कुत्ता मेरे पीछे पड़ जाएगा, इसलिए मैं बाहर नहीं जा रही हूँ. Now that is anxiety. Okay, it's the broadening of the attention. Objective and rational, very subjective, triggers the fight or flight response. What is fight or flight response? Any kind of threat to you. This is an evolutionary defense mechanism that we have, जो अपने collective consciousness में है, कि अगर जैसे ही हम अपने सामने कोई भी threat, whether medical हो, whether actual हो, कोई भी threat देखते हैं, कोई भी cause for stress देखते हैं, there are two responses that are come naturally to us. One is to fight it, the other one is to run away, is to escape. Okay, now both of them, fear and anxiety, will trigger this response because your brain perceives the threat as something that you have to run away from or something that you have to fight. Okay, dissipates when the object of the fear disappears. So एक बार मेरी एग्जाम हो गई है, अभी मुझे चिंता नहीं है, आई एम डन, अभी मुझे डर नहीं लग रहा है. मगर एंजाइटी में अगर मेरी एग्जाम भी हो गई है, ओके, तो फिर भी the fear of the exam is still there. Okay, become more chronic and triggers health issues. Now this is very important. Okay, it can become chronic. Anxiety को anxiety तभी बोलते हैं जब it becomes chronic. Okay, or it can trigger health issues. Definitely, it can cause panic attacks. Very obviously, जिनको भी anxiety होती है, one of the things that happens sometime on their life, they get panic attacks. Now, this is when your anxiety is unresolved. So जब भी मुझे एंजाइटी है, ओके, मुझे फ्यूचर का बहुत डर लग रहा है, ओके, मुझे एंजाइटी है, मगर अगर इसको रिजॉल्व नहीं किया गया, तो वो क्रॉनिक हो जाती है. Now there's a small part of your brain which is called the amygdala. Okay, now this is the stress part of your brain. So जो ये amygdala है, उधर से हम वो is triggered when you are stressed. Okay, and then instead of the frontal cortex, which is the logical part of your brain, the brain starts thinking from that part, from the amygdala. So आप जो भी सोचते हो वो stress से सोचते हो, and that becomes eventually a problem. When is it cause for concern? Okay, if your feeling of anxiety are extreme, बहुत ज़्यादा, जैसे आप कुछ फंक्शन नहीं कर सकते हो, आप बहुत घबराए हुए रहते हो, आपको हार्ट बीट्स ज़्यादा हो जाती है, आप कुछ भी काम नहीं कर पा रहे हो, then it is cause for concern. If it lasts longer than 6 months and it is interfering with your life, you may have an anxiety disorder. Now, diagnosis still differs from people to people. For example, first of all, हम anxiety diagnose नहीं करेंगे जब तक आपको ये बहुत chronic नहीं हो जाता है, क्योंकि actually anxiety सबको होती है. So only when it interferes with your life will we say that you have a anxiety disorder. और वो भी आपको ये 6 महीने तक अगर है, where you cannot function, only then will you be diagnosed as as somebody who has anxiety disorder. Number one. Now, this diagnosis also will be different for different people. For example, अगर आज मैंने अपना suppose I have lost my dear one, okay, और उसके वजह से, and then after that I have some financial issues, some family issues, some issues related to children, some issues related. So whatever other issues that I have around that loss, if I have anxiety, then still you will, even if you have it for 6 months, we will still not say that you have anxiety disorder, because it is something that is natural for you to, till you figured out your issues, it's natural for you to be anxious. Okay, so diagnosis is very important, and it depends from people to people. So अगर आज मुझे anxiety disorder है for something, अगर वामसी जी को वही anxiety हो रहा हो, तो I may still have anxiety disorder and he may not have anxiety disorder. He may be able to work with it. He may be able to deal with it much better than I can. Okay, anxiety is a clinical disorder, not a term to be used loosely. You may be anxious, but does not mean that you have anxiety disorder. तो जब लोग आते हैं और बोलते हैं अजय मुझे एंजाइटी हो गया है, मुझे एंजाइटी हो गया है, something that you need to be careful about labeling yourself. Okay, now this is a very important type of anxiety disorder. It's called generalized disorder, generalized anxiety disorder. Now the symptoms are very similar to anxiety disorder, and therefore I haven't put symptoms to anxiety disorder. Same symptoms, but आपको मैं in a minute different समझाती हूँ. So what are the symptoms? You feel restless. आपको किसी काम में मन नहीं लगता है. You feel restless. You feel tired. You worry excessively about something or somebody. Increased muscle ache and soreness. What happens normally? कि हम लोग को ये नर्वस टिक होती है. Everybody has it. या तो पैर हिलाना, या जॉ टाइट कर देना, या नेक के जो मसल्स, शोल्डर के मसल्स है वो टाइट कर देना. So this causes pain. Okay, impaired cognitive function. तो सर कभी-कभी हम बोलते हैं इतनी चिंता हो रही है कि मैं सोच ही नहीं पा रही हूँ. That I can't think. मैं decision नहीं ले पा रही हूँ. This is impaired concentration and impaired cognitive function. Irritability, सबके साथ गुस्सा करना, अगर चिंता होती है, it's very natural. अगर you are stressed about something और कोई आके आपको कुछ पूछता है, तो you feel irritable, difficulty in sleeping. Now these are very classic symptoms of anxiety disorder. Now how is this different from generalized anxiety disorder? Now generalized anxiety disorder में you worry about everything. आज Andaman में there was big waves, you'll worry about that. आज पानी नहीं आने वाला है in one part of the city, you will, it has nothing to do with you, but you will worry about that. You will worry, अरे उधर हो रहा है तो मुझे भी हो जाएगा क्या? And then it fuels you. That becomes your purpose, which means that agar, so like I'm giving you an example, like one part of the city is not going to get water. आप सोचेंगे कि मुझे भी नहीं, हमें भी अगर पानी नहीं मिलता है तो क्या होगा? अच्छा अभी पानी भर लो, means there's nothing to do with you. Nobody has said कि आपको पानी नहीं मिलेगा, मगर you will start filling water, you will start buying drinking water. Now you'll worry about everything, okay? And that, and not specifically, not just specifically of something that you are fearful. You will just worry about everything. अगर बॉम्बे में कोविड केसेस बढ़ गए हैं, okay, तो हमें हो जाएगा क्या? You will start buying things. So that is an generalized anxiety disorder. This actually is really, really difficult to it is really difficult to kind of get over unless you have help. So for generalized disorder, if you are diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, you are going to need help. You're not going to need help from a psychologist, and you're going to need help from a psychiatrist, because of the nature of this disorder, it's difficult to get over on your own. Symptoms of panic attack. Okay, now this is for people who suffer from anxiety disorder. ये बहुत important है जानना कि ये क्या मुझे मेरे panic attack के क्या symptoms है. जैसे मैंने बताया, if you have anxiety, तो sometime in your life you are going to get a panic attack, because this is the build-up of stress in your body. और इतना unresolved stress इतना बढ़ जाता है that your body gives you this extreme signal, okay? और ऐसा लगता है जैसे मुझे heart attack हो रहा है. So what are the symptoms of this? Sweating, nausea, shaking, tremors, agitation, heart palpitations, severe feelings of panic, and shortness of breath. Now, heart palpitations, severe feelings of panic, and shortness of breath. Okay. Now, इतना ही अगर आपको हो जाता है, आपको लगेगा, and you know, sweating. This will make you feel कि मुझे BP का कुछ हो रहा है, मेरे heart को कुछ हो रहा है, and it's very real. In the sense कि ऐसा नहीं है कि भाई मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है, मुझे ऐसा, I'm thinking like that, but you know, people who have anxiety, their sometimes heartbeats go to 140, especially when they're in a panic mode. It really becomes difficult. They find it very difficult to breathe, and at that time, it's very important to have somebody who knows that you are going through a panic attack. Out of maybe 10 people who go to the hospital with a panic attack, thinking that they are having a heart attack, 8 of them are sent back within 15 minutes. You know, because वो कुछ calmer दे देते हैं, वो, you know, they make them calm and send back. And some of them, after they have a panic attack, need to be hospitalized just for observation. So this is something that you need. If you suffer from anxiety, this is something that you need to know. This is very important. You have to have somebody in the family who knows कि ऐसा हो सकता है, or can soothe you, give you a glass of water, make you breathe. इसका कोई एक ही इलाज है, deep breathing. Deep breathing, sitting down calmly and breathing and watching your breath. Within a few minutes, you are better. Okay, magar it's a very real threat. Now, what are the substances that can trigger anxiety disorder? Okay, one is genetic. If you have anybody in your family who suffers from anxiety disorder, you will most probably, there are 50% chances of passing it on genetically, number one. Number two, even if it's not genetically passed on to you, it is it's an observation of how that other person is dealing with stress. For example, if you have a father or a mother who has anxiety disorder, तो उनको observe करते करते आप वही सीखते हो. Okay, जब भी अगर आप there is a mother जिसको एंजाइटी डिसऑर्डर है और जो बहुत पैनिक हो जाती है फॉर स्मॉल थिंग्स, बहुत चिंता करने लगती है, बच्चे ये ऑब्जर्व करते हैं कि दिस इज हाउ माय मदर इज डीलिंग विद स्ट्रेस एंड दे लर्न दैट, सो इट्स दिस इज अ लर्न्ड एंजाइटी रिस्पॉन्स. ओके, और इसलिए इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू रिजॉल्व योर एंजाइटी, बिकॉज बच्चे सीखते हैं. Alcohol is a big contributor to stress, and alcohol is a big contributor to anxiety disorder. Alcohol dulls your cognitive functions. Of course, जब भी पीते हैं तभी तो नहीं समझ में आता है, मगर it dulls your cognitive functions, and once that the alcohol takes over your cognitive functions, then the anxiety kicks in. Very often people feel that अगर मैं बहुत स्ट्रेस्ड हूं तो एक ड्रिंक पी लूंगा और मुझे ठीक हो जाएगा. That ठीक हो जाएगा lasts for a very short time. Alcohol actually triggers the stress hormone. Drugs, any kind of drugs, smoking does it, some medicines do it. So अगर आप रेगुलरली कोई दवाई लेते हैं एंड इफ यू फील ये दवाई लेने के बाद मेरी हार्ट बीट थोड़ी बढ़ जाती है, या मुझे it may be triggering something, so that's something that you need to take up with your doctor, that every time मैं लेता हूँ तो मुझे थोड़ा हार्ट बीट बढ़ जाती है, मुझे स्वेटिंग होने लगता है. That's something you need to take up with your doctor. Drugs as in marijuana हुआ, LSD हुआ, जो भी आप बोलते हैं, any kind of psychotropic drugs will also can also induce anxiety. Funnily, sometimes the drugs that are given to control, the medicines that are given to control anxiety or to control depression can also give you a slight bit of anxiety. So it's very important, if you are taking psychotropic medication for your anxiety disorder, it's very important to at least once consult some psychologist to understand how the drug functions, how to take care of it. Okay, we are done. We are done with the slides. If anybody has questions, I will take them now.
Yes, ma'am. We have one question. Sounds quite similar. This is by Simran Kaur. My husband can't go to the crowded place. Unki heartbeat fast ho jati hai. He avoids crowded places. So this is again by another person, and because that person, it's a similar question. They feel scared. The heartbeat fast ho jati hai, and this could also be because I lost my mother due to COVID-21. So bahar jane mein heartbeat fast hote. This is one of the questions. So if you wish to take this up.
Okay, so social anxiety, that is एक तो social anxiety हो सकती है. Now I don't know your symptoms exactly, so I won't be able to pinpoint what is happening to you. और एक होता है fear of crowded places. It's a very natural fear, okay, and it's lots of people suffer from that, and not necessarily anxiety. जैसे लोग जिनको ये प्रॉब्लम होता है fear of crowded places, उनको जब भी कोई क्राउड होता है या शादी होती है या they will never go to a mela, they will never get into a crowded train, they will never get into a crowded bus, because वो जो claustrophobic and the fear that somebody is breathing on you, that is very real. Very easily treatable by CBT. It's a cognitive behavioral therapy that most people will use for something like that. Maybe 10 to 12 sessions, very, very easily treatable. उसमें कोई डरने की जरूरत नहीं है. And it's you are not the only person who has this problem. There are many people who have this problem. Very often इनको claustrophobia का भी problem होता है. जैसे वो crowded या बंद places में नहीं जा सकते हैं, जैसे lift में नहीं जाएंगे. Jidhar bhi, there are too many people breathing down their neck, it becomes a difficult problem, but nothing to worry about. It's very, very easily treatable, and very quickly treatable. So उसमें आपको कोई दवाई ववाई लेने की भी जरूरत नहीं पड़ती.
There's another question. When I'm in a stress, my stomach gets upset. Is this a symptom of anxiety and how to treat it?
Yeah, it's a psychosomatic response that your body is telling you that you are upset. So one anticipated, which means that अगर आपको मालूम है कि मैं stress होने वाली हूँ या होने वाला हूँ, who's the okay? So if you know that you're going to be stressed, okay, think about that and prepare for it. Okay, as soon as there are breathing exercises, there are other kind of exercises that you can do. If you come to the HCFI OPD, we can talk about it. But there are lots of things that you can do to elevate that stress. And for your body, you basically need to train your body to take out the stress in another way rather than getting an upset stomach. So, some people get headaches, some people get an upset stomach, some people, get breathless. Some people just, have like huge bout of meltdowns and start crying. So everybody's response to stress is different. And so if you deal with that, then आपका जो ये symptom जो है, ये response है body का, वो change हो सकता है. Basically, just 1 minute. Basically, if you start practicing relaxing breathing is basically belly breathing. If you sit up straight with your shoulders pushed back and you breathe with your belly, which means that जब भी आप सांस अंदर लेते हो, your belly swells up, और जब भी सांस बाहर निकालते हो तो जोर से with a sound अगर आप बाहर निकालते हो, so that is stress relieving breathing. अगर आप belly breathing करते हो, it's very easily release your stress. Yoga is also, of course, a very good way of relieving stress. And if this doesn't help, you can come and we can talk about it.
Ma'am, this is one question. I know a lady, 35 years old, staying in mother's house separate from the husband due to some genuine reason. At any cost, she can't get back with her husband. She's leading a normal life until she met her friend, became pregnant, and now she's depressed and she doesn't talk to anybody. So what to do with her? Or we ask her to join the OPD too, because
yeah, do that. She seems to have a lot of connecting kind of issues, but she doesn't feel like talking, and she's to herself, and she's basically socially isolated. Uska matlab nahi hai कि she is depressed. Okay, she may be just sad and she doesn't want company. So we'll have to talk to her and find out. मगर अगर आपका फ्रेंड है तो आप अगर मुझे symptoms बताएंगे तो नहीं चलेगा, आपके फ्रेंड को आना पड़ेगा. I'll be very honest, I can't do this third party therapy. So if your friend needs help, please, more than welcome to come into the OPD. We can talk about it. But from what you tell me, it doesn't seem like she is depressed. That she doesn't necessarily have to be.
Ma'am, there are many questions about the panic attack and basically more at the evening at night. So the palpitation going high and the sleepless night and panic attack. So there are
so panic attack के out of all the symptoms that I showed you, उसमें at least 3 symptoms होने चाहिए. Then it's a panic attack. Understood? Just मेरे heartbeat palpitation बढ़ जाते हैं. It's a post-COVID thing. Most people have it. Okay, जैसे रात को सोते समय नींद नहीं आती है and you can actually feel your heart beating. It's a post-COVID problem. Lots of people have it. So उसको जब भी आप panic attack जब भी बोल सकते हो, जैसे जब भी आपको out of all the symptoms that I've showed you, you have at least 3 symptoms. Okay, like you have breathlessness, you have increase in palpitation, and there is like an extreme cause for worry. Only then will you say that it's a panic attack. Okay, it actually feels like a heart attack. I mean, I can't give you a better comparison. It feels as if your heart is closing down. So just palpitation doesn't mean it's a panic attack. Palpitation means if you're lying down, first of all, you should be in sleep mode. and you should do breathing, and that kind of after some time takes care of itself. One of the very good things to do if you have this kind of post-COVID palpitation, raat ko and all that, it is repetitive. Any repetitive activity will help you, which means that agar aap बार-बार वही काम कर सकते हैं, you can read the same book, you can do stitching, you can do anything that you have to do, your muscles have to do the same thing again and again, will help you relax and calm down. So ये problem उससे चली जाए.
And this is a question, is how to deal with such people who are difficult to handle, and seeing their condition, the other people get fearful. So maybe this is for the people who are seeing struck people, and then therefore the others get panicky. How to deal with such people?
So if you have anybody in the house who is prone to panic attacks, okay, and has obviously the anxiety disorder, that is something. This is something that you have to be prepared for. Okay, जो अगर anxiety जिसको भी है, उसको ये breathing सिखाना चाहिए. Number one, okay, sleep on time, eat on time is very important. Empty stomach also triggers a panic attack. If you haven't eaten and you're worried, and you haven't slept, it's a sure thing that you are going to get panic attacks. Means ये ऐसा recipe है कि अगर आपको anxiety disorder है, आप सोए नहीं हो, आपने खाना नहीं खाया है, your stomach is empty, you will get a panic attack. So this is something that you have to. So you have to eat well on time. You have to drink a lot of fluids, and you have to make sure that you get some exercise every day. Exercise, I can't. We've done a session on exercise, and I can't tell you how important it is to see that there is some exercise you do every single day. It really helps people who have anxiety disorder. So, and sorry, I digress. So basically prepare for it, see that the person is eating well, sleeping well, and train the person to do belly breathing. You can also do something which we call a safe place thinking. Just say you get the person to close the eyes and think about what they are getting scared of, and at the same time ask them to breathe in and breathe out in a safe place. Okay, so in a place where the threat is not there, and that will also help you. But preparation for it, if you are somebody who's a caregiver, preparation for it is very important.
Ma'am, there are many questions, and I think we will have to take another session because we were pressed with time. So I really apologize for not taking it up at this session before Bhakti ji, because as usual, we are always, whenever she's there, we have questions loaded. So ma'am, we would request you to take another session where we can answer these queries. And thank you very much, Bhakti Mehta ji, for such an informative and an eye-opening session. It's always a pleasure to have you on this platform. And so now we can, Vamsi ji,